Alright, can I just say that the natural lighting at this house is amazing. I don't even have to use my studio lights half the time. Just bounce that back a little. There we go, we're looking good. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of A Writer's Outlook here on my channel Charaba Writes. National Novel Writing Month is approaching very fast, and I'm just here trying not to panic, but it's kind of inevitable. So I guess I'm just going to scream internally. Anyway, if you aren't familiar with National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo, it is a month-long quest to write 50,000 words of a novel in November. This will be my 6th year participating. This video is perhaps a little late, but I thought I would just share some of the things that I have done this month and in September to prepare for National Novel Writing Month this year. Alright, roll the intro, although I really need to make a better one.
I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see.
So this year, I am not working on a brand new novel. I am rewriting the first half of my epic fantasy, A Clash of Crimson, and hopefully getting to write the second half for the first time. I've been working on this novel for years, and it just has never really advanced past basically Act 1, start of Act 2 in the 3-act story structure. It just has not made it past that point. But this year I have a ton of new ideas, and I'm confident that this will be the year I finally push through and maybe even finish my novel. Probably not during November, but probably within the year. So because I'm working on a rewrite, I already had the idea and the plot for this novel in my head, and I already had most of the characters because I've been writing them for years. But I made some changes, and I worked on a lot of other stuff to get ready for National Novel Writing Month this year. I have prepped more this year than I think I have for any other nano, so hopefully that means that I'll have a good time, because I haven't won since 2015. So this is my story bible, as I like to call it. It is a huge 3-ring binder, all with stuff for A Clash of Crimson and the sequels that I have planned. Here I have one of my cover variations that I made 2 days ago on Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. It's nothing fancy, I just needed something for the Nano site. So like that was one of my options. This was another one of my options that I illustrated. And then I also had a third option that was on the site already, but it looks too similar to another book with a very similar name, which is entirely coincidental, but I don't want that to be confusing. So I got rid of that cover. So I'm going to share some of the things I've been working on in the story bible and the organizing I've been doing, and then after that we will hop into the PC behind me and look at some of the digital stuff I've been working on. So first up is of course the outline, which is blown out, so hang on. So what I've done is I typed up a new outline for the story with all the changes I made to characters and the plots in preparation for NaNoWriMo this year. Typed it all up, printed it out, put it in sheet protectors. Oh, you can kind of see it there. Even got a fancy logo for my novel here. But it's in sheet protectors. There's quite a few pages. I don't know how many thousands of words this outline is. This is my bullet point outline. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages long. But that's just for quick reference. I keep it in the front here of my story bible so that for quick reference I could just look while I'm writing without leaving the document on my screen. I can go, okay, that's what's supposed to happen next, and it just has a bunch of story notes on it as well. And because it's in paper format, anytime I make a change, I can just pull it out of the sheet protector, take a pen to it, and make changes, which I like, or I can highlight things. It's a good system for me, and that's what I do. I like to print stuff out. Because I am writing epic fantasy, it involves a ton of world building, and you have to figure a lot of stuff out before you start writing, otherwise your world won't feel very whole, it won't feel like a real place. That means you have a lot of stuff to keep track of. So one way that I do that is I have notebooks in my story Bible. So this notebook, my red notebook, and I've got stuff flagged, is just for world building. It is all for settings, countries, that kind of stuff. So I have like the different heraldry of the kingdoms. You probably can't see that. I've got all the kingdoms of the world, their capitals and their rulers. I've got the major religions of the world here, notable cities and estimated population for the whole world, the time and date system for the world, and then skipping ahead to one of my flags, the main country. I have its whole government system planned out, who has all the major roles in that government, and how that'll change during the course of the story. I also have a history of its former rulers, so I can start developing a history for that country. I also have the coinage system and the equivalents in the modern day United States dollars, the cities and towns, their population, who's the lord over that city and town. Now we have the blue notebook. This is all about characters. Characters are probably the most important part of a novel, and I had never really focused on fleshing out my characters and really building believable characters until about 2 months ago. So for each character, this is my antagonist who I started with. For each character, I had them take the Myers-Briggs personality type test, but like the free version of that, the 16 Personalities website. If you haven't done that for your characters, I would just recommend doing it. Not that I'm a professional, I don't have any professional writing advice, I'm not a published author, but it was also kind of fun. It was fun to do, and I think it gives you a better idea of your characters, and I've done it with 4 of my characters so far, and I'll try to get through a few more before Nano starts. Really cool stuff. You learn so much about your own characters, it's great. So for them and their personality types, I have their strengths, their weaknesses, their fears, things they hate, and things you should never say to them, all listed, as well as things they need. And I have that for 4 of my characters so far, and I need to work on some more. That's all I have in this so far, because most of my other characterization stuff is digital on Scrivener. Another thing that I have worked on in the past month to get ready is redrawing my world maps. Because it is an epic fantasy, I'm creating a whole world, a whole planet, and those are filled with countries, cultures, and people. So this is the region where the story takes place. I made this on Adobe Photoshop, designed this map, and then I also made a map for the world. And I have that in here for quick reference, and then I have another country planned out as well, and I still need to do one more, I think, before Nano. I did some world building on some of the specific countries and printed some of that stuff out, like their capital, largest city, languages spoken there, religion, government, you know, who rules that, what's the legislature like, what are the ethnic groups, what's the population, the currency, and a little bit of the history. So I have some of that for 2 countries already typed out. And then I have some printouts of some of the same stuff that was in that red notebook, but some really nice organized printouts that I made on Adobe InDesign. I have one for the kingdoms of the world, the religions of the world, and then some list of like states within kingdoms and their rulers and how that all works. So I have all those printed out and in sleeve protectors, which is real nice and organized. And then I have an index at the end of this with all of my used and unused original names I've come up with, either with the help of a generator or on my own. And I just kind of keep track of that as I assign them to characters or places. In addition to that, I have this notebook here, which I am using to write the history of my world, which will be a project beyond the scope of Preptober. This right here talks about the creation of the world and the war of the gods, and I just have it written out in this notebook. I plan to fill all the pages with history. It may never come up in the novel, but I want to have it so I understand the world I created better. Another thing that I did for prep is I printed out all my nano stats from previous years, as you can see here. The highlighted ones are days where I actually met the word count goal for the day. As you can see, I've been sucking lately. But I printed those out so I can see how I did in previous years. and so that as I update my word count on the site for each day, I can compete with myself in previous years, and I think that will motivate me. So now we're going to hop onto the PC, and I'm going to show you some things that I did on there. Okay. Welcome to my PC. This is my desktop. It's a little slower than my laptop, but it's alright. I'm going to try to figure some of that out before Nano. So, what you are looking at right here is my Google Drive. And this is in my writing folder. I have one for my current series that A Clash of Crimson is part of. It is called a Gethor. I have a folder here for world building. It's a little disorganized. I have to clean that up probably before Nano as well. And I'm showing you this because I was using it to save copies of my stuff in the cloud, but also because I wanted to share it with some people in a writer's Discord that I was invited to. So, like for example, right here, I've got an old draft of the novel I'm rewriting, and I only provided like 4 chapters because a lot of it, with some recent changes in the last month to the plot, they don't work anymore, so I didn't want to include stuff that would be no longer in the novel. So I included like 4 chapters in this old draft, and I sent it as a shareable link to a few of the people in my writer's Discord. And I've never let people read my writing like that before. For journalism, for the newspaper, yeah, that's all public, but my novels, I don't let people read. So this is the first time I've really had people look at my novel and critique it, and I got some great feedback on those 4 chapters of some things to change. So going into Nano now, as I rewrite, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to change those chapters to fit the new plot ideas and characters, I also have some feedback and some comments to help me figure out what I need to work on during Nano. So this is all my world building stuff. Once again, I just have this saved in the cloud, so like some copies of my covers that I showed you earlier. I have a few different versions, some with fancy text and some with white text, of both of those. And I have a copy of my outline in here as well. But I wrote up, like, let's look at this country, or no, this is the church. I wrote up some stuff about the churches and the religions in my world, and those are all available here. And then some stuff on the countries. This is Euphonor, and I shared this to get feedback on. This is the main kingdom in my story. You know, I just wrote some history, some backstory on that. And then these are my PDFs I made with InDesign that I printed out that are in my story Bible. And I also gathered some research that I found online that I wanted to keep. I would just save them to my drive. So, oh, that's not the right one. So like right here is like a glossary of medieval terms that I want to use. And I have it organized by category. Now we're switching here to my Scrivener. So this is just where I will be writing my novel for the month. I have it organized into the 3-act structure, and it's ready to go for November. And then here in the premise category, I just had some free writing, just some free thought stuff, and then my premise sentence about what my novel is, really short summary of my novel. Then I have my plot here, which I'm still working on making a few different outlines for different settings, like one that's actually written out longer, and then keeping my shorter bullet one that I have printed. And then here in my research, I've put my fantasy medieval terms in here for quick reference, and I'll be putting some other stuff. Like I did extensive research last week about the Roman aqueducts and how they got water to their cities. So I have like a whole bunch of research that I need to put into Scrivener still. But that's how I have my Scrivener set up and how I've been preparing there. And then hopping over here into Adobe Illustrator. This is the city of Shalon. This is the capital of Ufanor, where much of the beginning of the story takes place. And to get a better idea for it, I drew it out. Here on Illustrator, I created the city. I drew all the city blocks and the walls, and my farms are a little awful, but it gets the idea across for me as I'm planning this. I don't have a key because I know what they are, but like the orange here, this is an aqueduct to get water through, and these are all different tiered, so each level is higher than the other. So like between here and here, it's actually underground, and I have some wells and some fountains which are fed by the aqueduct and the pump houses underground. And then I've got where the main gates are and the main roads and stuff. So I did some planning, laying out cities. There's a few more cities I want to do before Nano starts, and I know there's not much time left. But that's just some of the stuff I've been working on to prepare for Nano. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know if it was helpful or not. It wasn't really designed to be a video where I like tell you what you should do to prep. It's just what I'm doing. If you like some of the stuff I'm doing, I know there's not much time left before November, but you could still work on a few things in preparation. This is just a video of what I've done so far and why I feel so confident going into NaNoWriMo this year, because I have never prepped this much. Everything is just so fresh in my mind, and I feel like this is the year I could finish, and I just can't wait to start writing. I'm just so excited. So I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe found it helpful or inspiring. Let me know what you do to prep for NaNoWriMo in the comments. I would love to see what you do, because maybe it's something that'll help someone else watching, or something that I can implement after NaNoWriMo or in future years. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you aren't subscribed already. And if you are subscribed, be sure to turn on the bell icon to get notifications for the next time that I post. If you're interested in watching other videos that I've made, you can check out my main channel. A link will be in the description and at the end of this video. Alright, I'm Charaba. See you next time.